All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to be doing, let's see if I can get my slides to advance one moment. Decompressing with the Marie Kondo folding. I'd like to start by saying by no means am I an expert in the Marie Kondo way of tidying and folding. I am definitely an amateur, but wanted to share some of the things that I've learned about the KonMari method, as well as show you what that process looks like. A big part of why I want to share this is because there's a lot of benefits to reducing stress in our lives. It's a very stressful time for a lot of people. And so finding ways that we can decompress can provide a lot of benefits to us. You know, it can prevent unnecessary energy drains. It can help reduce, impatience, irritability, anxiety. It has a lot of physical and mental health benefits, and can just help with overall brain function. And for those individuals that are working, especially for individuals that are trying to work from home, that ability to focus is really important. And there's a lot of different ways that you can practice mindfulness, that you can find ways to decompress. I know when I think of mindfulness or decompressing, I automatically go to meditation. And there's a lot of ways you can meditate. But for some individuals, meditation may not be the most effective or may not be an option. For me, I'm more of an activity-based mindful person. As you can tell, I hand gesture a lot. I'm usually moving if you've ever been in any of my in-person presentations. And so there's different ways that you can actively be mindful, whether it's through exercise, whether it's going to the gym, walking. Some people it's gardening. Unfortunately, I have a black thumb, so gardening is not a decompression way for me. And sometimes it can just be doing those common routines in your life or in your home. And for me, it's folding clothes. When I used to be a retail manager, I used to, a stressful day, stressful customer, there was always a clothing table that needed to be cleaned. So I'd go grab a folding table and just start going through folding shirts or pants and getting them reorganized on the table. And it gave me a break and a time to reset, address what I was feeling, and be able to move forward. And so that's something that I've recognized in the Marie Kondo method. I was first introduced to Marie Kondo through a Netflix series that she had. She is an individual that has made a name and a career for herself out of her organizing and tidying skills. She has written a couple books on the matter, specifically related to the KonMari method, which is the method that she practices. She has some TV shows, and then there's YouTube videos out there and articles about her method by her specifically and by other individuals that follow her methods. One thing that I thought that really connected with me and I thought was interesting about her process is it's based in the Shinto religion, and it was something that she had a revelation about when she was trying to tidy her home and declutter her home, and she was having challenges with figuring out what to get rid of. And she had this revelation about, instead of thinking about what to get rid of, thinking about what items were important to keep, what items sparked joy. For her, and we're going to touch briefly on that topic. So I'd like to just give you a very, very high level overview of some of the things that are part of the KonMari method. And then what we'll do is I'll show you how to do a few of her folding styles, and then answer any questions if there are any. So the KonMari method, actually I'm going to back up a second. The KonMari method looks at the processing of tidying and removing items from your home in a different method that I had ever been exposed to. I had always worked under, you clean a room and you move on to the next room. So you start with your living room and you may go to the kitchen and your bedroom and you do the room and move on. She organizes it not so much by room, but by category. And so for her, the first place that you start when you're going through this process is clothing. That you deorganize and declutter all of your clothing in the house before you move on to any room or any other category. The next item that she recommends is books, followed by paper. If you have an opportunity to learn more about the process, paper is definitely an interesting one. Then she has a section that she calls kimono, which is kitchen, bathroom, garage, and other miscellaneous item. So they're things that are a little bit more roomed based, but there's specific categories of items that are found in those rooms. And then the last item is sentimental. And this was something that as I was learning about her method and thinking about my own cleaning and decluttering process is that I get stuck on those sentimental items. And so being able to process through from items that maybe are less sentimental to more sentimental, I thought was an interesting perspective. Also a big component of as you're going through and looking at the items is this sense of sparking joy. That she actually has an entire book on sparking joy, which also is based in Shinto practices. And she talks about that warm, positive feeling that items bring you. And so that feeling that you may have when you're holding or seeing or wearing something. And some examples that she gave to try and help people understand was, holding a puppy, that warmth or that joy that you have when you're holding a puppy, or if you're a cat person, a kitten, or that favorite outfit you have that just makes you feel warm and comfortable. And as with any mental exercise, it's something that she described that the more you do it, the more you think about it, the more you recognize that feeling, the easier it'll become as you're working on cleaning or reorganizing your home to identify what things truly bring you joy, what things may not bring you joy, but things you actually need. My safety covers for my plugins are not something that bring me joy, but they are something I need for the safety of my children. And then what are those items that don't bring us joy and are those things that we really truly need in our homes? So one of the things that appealed to me about the Marie Kondo folding method, in addition to being able to fold, large quantity of clothes at work when I worked in retail, is having the time to process and decompress. It doesn't always feel the same way maybe when you're trying to work through your own loads of laundry at home. And so one thing that I liked about her method is it wasn't just about trying to get the clothes to be smaller and easier to organize, but it was also about showing respect for the clothes and trying to kind of having a methodical and slightly meditational process about how you prepare your clothes for folding and how you actually fold them. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and take a moment. Give me just a moment to adjust the camera so that you can actually see some of the folding styles that we're going to do today. Let me back up a slide here. One moment. Okay. And so I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. All right. One moment to get the camera angle adjusted. I apologize. And I will be speaking just a little bit louder so you can hear me. And please feel free to use the chat function if you can't see or hear what I'm doing. So, all right, so we're going to start with a shirt. And fortunately, luckily for me, these were already folded, so they're pretty smooth to start with. Let me get in camera angle here. All right, nope. I practiced this last night, I promise. Okay. So, see if I can get a little bit better camera angle there. There we go. Okay. So, with the method, the first part is you're going to lay out the clothing, and you're going to try and smooth it out as best you can and remove as many wrinkles as possible. Once you have the shirt smoothed out, you've taken some time with that, then you're going to start by folding it into a long rectangle. So we're going to take and fold this side of the shirt over here to about 1/3 of the shirt. And then we're going to take the sleeve that we have here and we're going to fold that back so that we have this, once again, nice clean rectangle. I'm going to take the side that I have left that's out. I'm going to fold it in. I'm going to fold the sleeve in again. And then from here, I'm going to flip the shirt around because I want to be folding towards the end of the bottom of the shirt. I'm going to fold the shirt about in half. And so we're going to leave a little bit of a gap at the bottom. And depending on the shirt, depends on how much of that gap there is. But it's going to be between 1 inch, maybe to 2 inches, depending on the size of the shirt. And then from there, we're going to fold the shirt into thirds. And when we are done, we should have this nice, clean little rectangle. And when we set it down, and it usually takes me a few times of getting in the folding method, it should stand up on its own, which makes it really nice for stacking in drawers and keeping it organized. So I'm going to show that to you again. And once again, if you have any questions, feel free to type into the chat feature. So we're going to start by spreading out the shirt, trying to remove the wrinkles, being gentle with it, trying to get it in a nice, clean format. We're going to take our shirt on one side. It doesn't matter what side you start with from what I've seen. And so you're going to fold in about a third of the shirt. We're going to fold the sleeve back so that we have that nice, clean line. Then we're going to fold in the other third. We're going to fold, once again, we're going to make our folds towards the bottom of the shirt. So we're going to fold up about halfway. This is a little bit thinner shirt than the last one I was folding, so my gap at the top is a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to fold into thirds. And that one stood up a little bit better. Now, the more you do this, as you can see, I'm not a pro. My shirts are different size folds. Ideally, you would like your shirts to be all the same width because it makes it nicer for staring in the drawers. So it is something that takes a little bit of practice and a little bit of time to get used to. One of the things that I also enjoy about this method and this process is that I have small children at home. My oldest is 3. And if you have small children in your life, you know that they like to help with chores. But sometimes their method of helping with chores maybe is not super helpful, maybe doesn't lead to a meditative or decompressing process. Sometimes I have to refold what my daughter does. But one of the things I really like about this method is because of that process of smoothing out the clothes in the very beginning, is that something that she can help me with. And so what we do is instead of her, pulling clothes out of the basket and waiting for me to finish with what I'm folding to hand me the next item, is she starts just pulling the things out and laying them out on the clean floor, and she'll just start smoothing them out. And when she smooths them out, she moves on to the next item, and then I come up behind her. We have our own little assembly line. I come up behind her and then start folding them. And then when she gets all done smoothing out clothes, she gets to start trying to help me with folding. So she is learning about this process. So next I'm going to move on to pants, which are really easy. Oh, let's see here. Okay, so I have some questions, so I'm going to take a pause to answer those really quick. So should clothes always be face up? So one thing that I've noticed in with the videos that I've watched about Marie Kondo, she always folds her clothes face up, but I've never seen her fold any that have any graphics or designs on them. So I personally fold my clothes face down if they have a graphic and a design on them. And the reason why I do that is so that when they're in the drawer, I can see what shirt I'm pulling and what's on it. And I definitely do that for my daughter's clothes because it makes it really easy for her as a 3-year-old to go in and pick out her own clothes in the morning. Let's see here. So yeah, we have a few questions about the graphics. What about odd shaped shirts and clothes? So there are some different processes, and if we have some time, I did bring a sweatshirt today too to show you how to fold a sweatshirt. But depending on, there are specific ways for folding long sleeve shirts, for spaghetti strap shirts or tank tops. Today I was just going to show you a few of the basics, but they're really easy to find videos on YouTube by either Marie Kondo or by other people that follow her style of method that you can learn that. Let's see here. And Melissa shared with us that she was able to use last winter and was able to hold up about 25% in each drawer. And I agree with you, Melissa. I couldn't believe how much space I even used with my sweatshirts and being able to put them in a drawer to one, easily find them, but store them better. So let me mess up the jeans that were pre-folded. Apologize. I'd already gotten to laundry some of the laundry this week. All right, so with our jeans, once again, we're gonna start by smoothing them out, trying to get out the wrinkles. That way when you pull it out of your drawer, you don't have to worry about the wrinkles in it. We're gonna start by folding it in half widthwise. And then we are going to fold it in half lengthwise, similar to our shirts. We're gonna leave a little bit of a gap at the end. I usually look at the waistband as a nice point to have that break in the gap. And then we're gonna fold it into thirds. Now, one thing that I do, because a lot of my pants have this little piece on the edge that sticks out, I tuck that in so that I have a nice, here, let me see if I can show it this way a little better. So this little piece that sticks out, I fold it in so that I have a nice clean line on the outside. And so then we're gonna fold into thirds and stand it up. Pants are much easier than shirts, I personally believe. So I'll just show that one to you one more time. All right, so we're gonna smooth out our clothes. We're gonna fold the pants in half widthwise. Smooth out those wrinkles again, get everything nice and lined up. We're gonna fold almost in half. Once again, I'm gonna take that extra fabric in the back and tuck it in so I have a nice clean line. And then we're gonna fold it in thirds. And I'm gonna stand it up. So those are pants. Because there have been a couple inquiries about odd size shirts, I'll go ahead and show you how to fold a sweatshirt. Because we all probably living in, for those of us that live in Pullman and most of Washington with the weather, we need sweatshirts. So with the sweatshirt, we're gonna start out just like with the shirt, with everything, we're gonna spread it out, make sure that we have it all smoothed out so we have those clean lines for folding. Now with a sweatshirt, unlike a shirt, we're not gonna fold it in a full third. Because of the bulkiness of the sweatshirt, we're gonna fold it in, I usually fold it to where the sleeve meets about halfway down the sweatshirt. And we leave the arm out, facing back out, and then where the edge of the sweatshirt is right here, we're gonna fold that arm in at an angle. Oh, give me one moment, please. Apologize. Didn't realize that my automatic vacuum was set to go off at 10:15. So once again, I'm gonna fold the shirt in about halfway. I'm gonna take that sleeve and fold it down so I have that nice clean surface. Then with the hood, we're gonna fold that down and we're gonna try, it's gonna stick out a little bit, but we're gonna try and make it as flat as we can. So we're gonna pull the hood down and we're gonna try and flatten it. Take our little hoodie strings, tuck those into the hood, and then, I'm trying to remember which, then we're gonna fold it into thirds. Instead of doing the half this time, we're just gonna fold it straight into thirds and stand it up. So that is, I guess, what I would consider the basics to an introduction to Marie Kondo folding. Are there any questions that anyone has before we conclude today's meeting? All right, well, let me just switch back to the presentation. One moment, please. Oh, let's see, I think we had a question. Let me just double check. Nope, doesn't look like we have any questions. So give me just one moment to switch back to the presentation just to give you the last information slide that we have. Share and all right, so with that, thank you all for joining us. Appreciate your time. We'll be doing these again weekly next week, and you can use the same Zoom number to join us. Thank you very much.